Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first edition of News Others Miss on the new channel Research Roadshow. And today is October 7th. Thanks, Kate. And we are going to discuss one of the most important topics of the next few months, and that is election integrity. And there's been a lot of talk over the past couple of years, especially in the United States, about the possibility of stolen elections and whether or not the election machines are to be trusted at all. A lot of people are talking about different attempts to move towards paper ballot in their district. But Harry the Greek from Strongsville, Ohio, called me this morning and told me that he had the biggest case of the past 20 years of his work as court reporter and citizen journalist. And it involves a Chinese national named Jianwei Yu, also known as Eugene Wu. And he was arrested the other day, but it was the details of his arrest that are of great concern to me, having spent the past few hours looking into it. Okay, so let's pull up a picture of Mr. Yu. Again, he's a Chinese national. He may have acquired in the past few years American citizenship. We don't know for sure yet, but here is his photograph. Share screen, window. Okay, I don't know how well that's coming over. Let's see. All right. He is indeed a powerful individual. He made very rapid progress with his company here in the United States, specifically in the territory of Michigan. He was able in a very short time to get his people and services in the employ of the Michigan Election Board. And let me see if I can pull that one up as well. The name of the company is Konnech or Konnech. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it. He is the CEO of Konnech and has a very interesting history. Now, the reason that we're bringing up his particular case, as opposed to Dominion or one of the others, is that he was arrested, I believe, 5 days ago, and he got out on bond, on $1 million bond, but the charge was a misdemeanor. Avoiding arrest or fugitive from justice, something like that. And I questioned myself, why is $1 million bond put up for a misdemeanor? Anyway, let's see if I can get his website. Okay, website is turning out 404. No great surprise there. Let's pull up Harry the Greek's web. Harry the Greek's article on brassballs.blog. Now, why is this, with all the other things that are going on in the world, why is this so concerning to me? Because, and to Harry, obviously, because the FBI, first of all, he was not arrested by the police in Lansing, Michigan. He was arrested. Well, actually, it was the police in East Lansing who arrested him, but it was at the behest of two prosecutors from Los Angeles. They were the ones who came to town and grabbed a couple of local deputies and said, "We need to arrest this guy." So why is it not sharing? Okay. So again, Harry's blog is newsothersmiss.com, and brassballs.blog. You can find it on either site. So here we have the Ingham County Sheriff's Office, and here we have the jail inmate locator. I guess he spent 5 days in jail. 57. He was born in 1957, so that makes him 65 years old almost. Now, what's interesting was there are two interesting things about this that caught Harry's attention. Harry's accustomed to getting a call from the local DA regarding certain arrests. He's been a court reporter for 35 years. He telephoned the Los Angeles prosecutor's office for some information, and he fully expected that they would get back to him, and they didn't. For more than a day and a half, they did not get back to Harry, and that really piqued his attention. The other thing, obviously, the aforementioned $1 million bond for a misdemeanor, but it turns out that Mr. Jianwei Yu is a Chinese spy, and the FBI knows it. The FBI has known that he was a spy for at least 15 months, and they didn't do anything about it. And what's great about Harry's website is that every one of these links is to a federal or state or county website, or one of the major NGOs, or the New York Times, or a major publication. There's no conjecture about any of Harry's reporting. So the big question is, who ordered the FBI to cover up the dealings of Mr. Yu and his election machine, or I should say election operations? It doesn't actually fabricate the machines. So one of the major contributors is a Substack correspondent named Konnech. So let's go there. And again, there's a lot of websites out there reporting on the possibility of election fraud, especially in the U.S. in November of 2020. But this case is unique because it ties together a lot of Harry's other reporting. And it goes into, you're going to see links to the child trafficking, the cover-up of the child trafficking, namely Peter Strzok Jr., that's Strzok. Peter Strzok Jr. will come into our broadcast frequently over the next few months. Andrew McCabe, and several other of the characters that Ospreys like to talk about. It's going to link to some of what's going on in Boston, specifically the plan for a much better world, Harvard and MIT Media Lab. There's a lot of entities that are going to get wrapped up in this story. Okay, now let's go down. Mr. Yu is a member of the Chinese Communist Party. No surprise there. But he's fairly high ranking, and it's very odd that his presence in Michigan wouldn't have raised the suspicion of certain federal and state of Michigan authorities. It's extremely odd. Mr. Yu runs all the CCP elections in China and many of the elections in Australia and the United States. Now, when you say runs the elections, it means, formally on the surface, it means that he provides personnel and manpower and logistics support and things like that. But there's more. If you scratch below the surface, you'll find some very strange workings indeed. A few examples are Washington, D.C., Loudoun County, Virginia, Detroit, Michigan, St. Louis, Missouri, Prince William County, Virginia, St. Charles County, Missouri, Hillsborough County, Florida, Edmonton, Alberta, Regina, Saskatchewan, state of Montana. This is the state of Montana. Now, here's the part that really piqued my attention was the patents. The CCP owns 18 patents used by nearly all the voting machine systems used in the election process in the United States. That is significant. China's 18 patents used to steal the Trump vote. Okay, and this goes back to an older blog that Harry did a few months ago about the Dominion machines. So all of those groups that were talking about election fraud, how come they never got down to, the fact that Mr. Yu's company was very strongly tied to these 18 patents? How come even 99% of the alternative community was not talking about those patents? And how did it escape everybody for almost 23 months, right? Mr. Yu is currently in jail. Well, this is when this is written, it was correct because he was released yesterday. Mr. Yu is currently in jail without a bond in Lansing, Michigan. He was arrested by the FBI without filing any paperwork on Yu's arrest. This avoids identifying the arresting officer. Okay, first big flag, that the arresting officer could not be named. I don't know if that's to protect him or his higher ups. We're not sure yet. It also blocks requests for public information on Yu's arrest. Another odd case. The above case number 22, I guess it means 2022 -1561-EX is bogus. There's no criminal case filed against Yu in federal court, Los Angeles County, or Ingham County, Michigan. The X in the case number means that you will be transferred to Los Angeles, California, and then presumably out of the country, back to China as soon as possible. All the evidence collected by the FBI has already been flown back to China, its rightful owner. George Soros, not too surprised to see George Soros' name here. And we'll click on that. Okay, bear with me here. The internet hamster is a little slow today. 23 prosecutors are in George Soros' back pocket. Okay, now we're getting into one of my favorite topics, and that is that the American system does not work exactly the way Ms. McGillicuddy taught me in 9th grade civics class. And I know that many of our subscribers have kind of already got that, but they don't know exactly how to go about getting the hard evidence that we need. Like George Webb always says, show me the receipts. And this is what is going to be my topic for the next couple of weeks. How do we get the receipts to show that it's not just one or two people acting in a criminal fashion? It is official government policy to protect certain people. And that's what we've got to drill down on. And we've got to drill down and drill down and drill down. Okay, still won't come up. All right, finally. 23 prosecutors are in George Soros' back pocket. Again, Harry's websites are newsothersmiss.com and brassballs.blog. And I don't want, please don't limit yourself. I know you're all very busy. Don't limit yourself to just these two articles. Go visit all of Harry's past 10 articles at newsothersmiss.com, because all 10 of them, in all 10 cases, he's talking about things that nobody else in the country, not even the alternative press, is talking about. Okay, Daily Wire. George Soros invests $40 million to help elect dozens of progressive prosecutors across the U.S. The source is George Soros himself. He vows to keep funding the campaigns of these prosecutors. He even brags about it in the Wall Street Journal. What's the purpose of the $40 million? It's a down payment to help the Biden administration transition the Justice Department into the United Nations. Okay, now we're getting close to the heart of the matter. What does that mean, John? Transitioning the Justice Department into the United Nations, reporting to their Human Rights Commissioner. It's something that we've seen in Europe for at least 15 years. The federal government, the provincial governments, the municipal governments are all purposely being driven into a state of total dysfunction so that the UN can come in with its, or in our case, it's the EU, can come in with their prefabricated process, their prefabricated solution that they've had waiting for over 60 years. And we right now in the United States, we have a toehold on some form of democratic government where the little people have a voice in what happens to them, especially going into war. If we don't drill down on these stories that Harry is bringing up, if we don't scream at the top of our lungs, if we don't all take a couple of days of vacation, take our vacation time, make some phone calls, turn off the TV, get to the bottom of these stories, we lose whatever little bit of democracy we have in the United States. We lose it all. And we become worse than the Soviet Union in 1970. I'll say that again. If we don't do everything we can right now to get to the bottom of Harry's stories, we lose everything and we become worse than the Soviet Union was in 1970. And so whatever they want to do, we deserve whatever they've got planned for the future of humanity, whether it's Neuralink or worse than Neuralink or much worse than Neuralink. And I spent 12 years at MIT, and I tell you, there are some things worse than Neuralink. We deserve it. We deserve whatever we get if we throw away this opportunity to restore some kind of democratic government, representative government. Anyway, we're going to follow up this story tomorrow at same time, 6:30 p.m. And we're going to do about 45 minutes to an hour every day until we get. I can't promise that. It's a little bit of a long shot to say I can tie, this guy Jianwei Yu to the man with the Patek Philippe and other characters in Boston, and even more powerful characters in Basel and in Herndon, Virginia. That's a little bit of a stretch. It might take a lot to get that far, but it's already bad enough what Harry's bringing up. So with that, I want to encourage everybody to visit brassballs.blog and newsothersmiss.com and make sure that you give Harry the credit where credit is due. If you share it with other people, buy Harry a coffee, donate to his website, because these court documents, Harry spends $200 to $600 on every one of these court documents. And it's very, very expensive. I think he's spent close to $60,000 so far. So please support Harry in everywhere you can. I'll see you again tomorrow. First at noon. At noon, we have George Webb, the George Webb Video Watch Party. And then at 6:30, we have News Others Miss, Episode 2. Good night, everybody. And thanks for supporting researchroadshow.com.